Hello and welcome to the Book Bunch. My name is Sam. It's so great to have you guys here for another video. Today we are going to be looking at 3 middle grade fantasy reads that I had a really good time with this week. Probably not quite as good as normal adult fantasy, but definitely worth the read even if you are an adult. But if you are younger than an adult, these are for you guys and they are awesome. So I do recommend them. We are going to start with the Emerald Atlas. I had an awesome time with this one. It ended up being a 5 out of 5 stars from me, and I hope I can track down the rest of the series because I definitely want this in my collection for when my daughter is older as well. And this first book was completely clean, so I'm really happy with that. I'm hoping the rest of the series remains that way. But this had some real Keeper of the Lost City vibes, so if you like that, I do recommend this one to you. It also reads a little bit like the Wingfeather Saga. The story is very different, but if you like the way the writing is in Wingfeather Saga, you might like this one. But this is about these 3 siblings who are they're orphans, but their parents aren't dead. Their parents are missing, and the eldest, she has been tasked by her parents before they disappeared to look after her 2 younger siblings. She was 4 at the time when her parents disappeared, and then she had a 2-year-old brother and like a 1-year-old sister. And it kind of time jumps to them being at an orphanage, and they're much older now, like they're all above the age of 10. And yeah, they are still trying to cling on to this hope that their parents will come back for them and that they were loved and they weren't just abandoned. And yeah, there's a lot of turmoil for them, and they haven't been able to find a foster home, and they don't really want to find a foster home at the same time, because they don't consider themselves orphans because they know that their parents are coming back. Anyway, they end up getting moved on to this very odd orphanage where they are the only 3 children, and it's in this really weird town on this mountain. And there's this old house, and there's a couple of people that live there, and yeah, there's just weird stuff going on. And they find this book in this house, and it allows them to travel in time. And it takes them on this whole adventure, and there's a lot of magic and mystery, and it was a wild ride. There was a good amount of fighting and violence in this, but I don't think anything that would be an issue as a middle grade. Like, it is a middle grade, so I'm assuming it meets some kind of regulation in regards to that. But yes, it very similar level of combat to Keeper of the Lost City. So if you're fine with that, you'll be fine with this. Anyway, it was a really good ride, a really good adventure, and I had a great time in this book. I read through it super fast as well. My copy is like just over 400 pages, but like the text doesn't even go like all the way to the borders, and like it's not tiny text. So yeah, it was a 1-day read for me, but it was really, really good. Well, actually, I think I ended up splitting it over 2 days because I had stuff on, but I could have read it in 1 day if I didn't have other things on. So it's a quick read, is what I'm trying to say. But yes, I do also really like the cover as well, but I managed to pick this copy up for 50 cents, and I'm really hoping I can track down the other ones in the series because this is only the start. I believe it is a trilogy, but I'm not 100% sure. And it says on the back, it says a spellbinding, action-packed page-turner in the epic tradition of C.S. Lewis, J.K. Rowling, and Philip Pullman. So if you're interested, there is that. I'm trying to see if it says... No, it doesn't say how many books are in the series, but Anyway, go check that one out, guys. I'm sure you'll enjoy it as much as I did. Then there is Alpha Centauri, which I don't know if this book counts as fantasy, sci-fi, or both, but I'm putting it in here for you because I feel like it leans slightly more towards fantasy because there's a bunch of centaurs in it. So this book is it's along the same vein as Wrinkle in Time, if you have read that one, but this book is basically about this girl who gets transported back in time to a time where mythical creatures still live on Earth with people, and the people are very evil and very corrupt, and they're basically killing off all the mythical creatures, including the centaurs. And it's basically because, from what I gather, and I don't know if this is meant to be like Christian fiction or not, but there seems to be some kind of fall or evil that has taken over the humans, because they sought out evil, and as a result they are trying to take over the world and kill off all of the mythical beings. I can't tell if there was meant to be like an angels demons Genesis situation happening, but as a Christian reading this, I could read that into the book, whether or not it was intended. So yes, I don't know anything about this author, so I don't know if this is Christian fiction or not, but it was written in the 80s, and it is very similar to Narnia. Like it gives me Narnia vibes. So if you like Narnia, I recommend this one if you haven't read it before. But it is about this girl who gets whisked, like she goes to England with her father to visit her father's friend, and she ends up getting like jumping on the back of this horse that this guy owns, and this horse takes off and takes her into this forest where she ends up getting caught up in this fog, and this fog transports her back in time, where she gets captured by the centaurs, who at first think that she is one of these bad human-like creatures from the past, which they call them rock dwellers, rock something. It doesn't say in the preface, so I can't tell you for sure. But yeah, they call them like rockmen or rock people or something. But yeah, so they are like the humanoid people in this story. Anyway, they kind of take her in initially as a prisoner because they don't know if she's one of these people or not. She explains that she's not, and she's come from the future. She's not sure why she's there, and she kind of just wants to go home. And they go and send a messenger to these other mythical beings that are like wise men type characters, or spiritual type characters that give advice and can see the future and prophecies and all of that kind of stuff. And so they ask what they should do with this girl, and they say, you need to bring her to us straight away. So on their way to bring her to these people, these seer type people, they get tricked, and her and a centaur get captured by these rock dweller people, and they are bad. They're just bad. And so she's trying to escape and get her, like, save her centaur friend, because he is being tortured and he's going to be sacrificed to these like rock dweller people's gods. And so she is trying to escape and get this centaur free so that they can then go, like, continue on their journey. And that's basically what the story is about. And it's about her setting free the centaurs as a whole as well, because I'll read it from the blurb because it's probably going to explain it better than I can. But it says, summoned to this time by the wise and far-seeing first ones, so they're the seer people, Becky undertakes a perilous mission which only she can accomplish to save the centaurs. In fulfilling this task, Becky faces a series of challenges that both try her ingenuity and strength of character. At last, she must stand up to the ultimate test of her faith and will, as she is called upon to open the path to the stars, the only hope for the centaurs' survival. So basically, the rock people are like trying to hunt the centaurs out of existence, and these first ones are going to beam them up to Alpha Centauri, because that is like the centaurs' homeworld type thing. It's super interesting, super complicated. Like I said, I couldn't really tell if it was fantasy or sci-fi or both. I guess it's one of those ones that walks the line because there's mythical creatures, but there is also this time travel and this idea of space. So yes, it's very good. I really liked it. I was pleasantly surprised at how good this book was. But yes, very Narnia vibes. So if you like Narnia, go check it out. Sorry, that was a terrible explanation of a book. Then there is The Bark of the Bog Owl. This one is a Christian fiction. I do know that for certain. This book is also written quite a while ago, as far as I know. Oh, not that long ago, 2004. I thought it was a bit older than that. But this book is a reimagining or retelling of David and Goliath. It is a trilogy. So this first book is David and Goliath, and then the other two books are about like David fulfilling the prophecy of becoming king, as per Samuel's instructions by God, and yes, him like taking over from like Saul and all of that kind of thing. So this first book is just him and the story of him defeating Goliath. It is really cool, really fun. I think if you like Wingfeather Saga, or even like the Light Raiders series, you'd quite like this one. But this book is very boyish, and that's okay. But it follows this young boy, and he is the fifth son. I think he's the fifth son. Maybe he's the sixth. But I think he's the fifth. Son of this like nobleman guy who is like basically a retired soldier, because they live on this island that has been like over the past several decades has been attacked by this main continent, and they are trying to take over this continent and like fill it with their false gods and all the rest of it. And this one island is trying to stay free so that they can worship the one true God. And they have been in battles with this continent in the past and have won only because the one true God has been with them. And this boy has grown up not knowing the fighting, because the fighting like stopped like 10 years prior to him being born or something like that. And so he's only ever known this freedom. And he is a shepherd boy, and he is desperate to like have adventure like his dad did. And he there's lots of little side stories of him wrestling with this wild boy who's called a Fichi people person, I guess, if it's singular. And yeah, he like wrestles alligators and kills a panther, and like all of this stuff happens. And yeah, him and his family are summoned to go to the king, and the king has invited some diplomats from this continent that keeps fighting with them because they're going to make a treaty. Little do they know that this other continent has no desire to actually make it a proper treaty. and leave them in peace. They actually want to conquer them diplomatically. So like have like put their army on this island, and the people will be forced to worship these other gods and like different things like that. And they end up almost giving in to this diplomatic decision, but then the boy's dad like jumps up and is like, no, this goes all against what the Coronwalders, I think that's what they were called, Coronwalders are and believe and what we fought for and all of this stuff. So the king decides like, no, we're not going to go through with this diplomatic alliance. So they start a war, and the bad people bring over their biggest soldier, who is the Goliath character, and everyone, like, weeks go past and they still haven't actually started their battle because no one will go out and fight him. And the boy, I think his name's Aiden. Yep, Aiden. He goes to deliver his brothers some like bread and cheese and stuff, and check on them because they haven't been returning letters. And he finds this camp in like this disarray, and so he decides he's going to fight this giant, like the David and Goliath story. But it's done really well. If you didn't know the David Goliath story, you wouldn't know this was David and Goliath, I wouldn't think, because he's just fleshed out the world so well and like really made it his own. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked all the side stories and the stuff with the Fiji people. I thought that was really cool. So I am looking forward to trying to find the other two books and just seeing how they go, because yeah, I think this will be cool to have for when my daughter is a bit older. And by a bit, I mean a lot, because she's 2. But yeah, when she's a teen, I think she'll really enjoy it. So that is The Bark of the Bog Owl. I don't have much to say about that, but yeah, they were all 4 stars or above. So they're all really good reads. I had a great time. They were all easy reads as well. Nothing too big. Like these two ones, they were both like under 300 words. Like I think this was 255 and this was like 230 or something. And then yeah, the Emerald Atlas was like 400, but it was a super quick read and easy read. So for all age levels and abilities there for you guys. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for that one yet, because I'm actually going away next weekend and I have no idea when I will be able to like pre-film and all of that kind of thing. So we'll see how we go, but I'll try and get something out for you guys. Have a great week and I'll see you then. Bye.